Hey, brown babes. Akila here. Just wanted to let you know that this week's episode is going to be a favorite. We call these the classic Well Honestly episodes. It is a repeat, but I think it's chock full of information for you all to absorb again. We will see you in new episodes in the future. Bye.
Hey, brown beauties. Welcome to Well Honestly, the podcast. I'm Andretta.
And I'm Akila, and we're your hosts. Well, honestly, what is this podcast all about?
Our show is about women doing better tomorrow than they are doing today, so we can take control of our health. We give you real talk and educate you on all things related to health, mental wellness, and nutrition for brown women all over the world. Once you know what choices you have, you can do better, because we know the struggle is real.
We invite you to come as you are, but leave inspired to become your best healthy self. So let's get started.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Akila. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Andretta. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. So we're recording these episodes, and just so people know, we might as well tell them we record in advance. And sometimes we're with hiccups, sometimes we're not without hiccups, and we've had a few little hiccups here today.
Couple of bumps.
But we thank God for our Brian, our engineer. He create miracles.
Listen, this whole thing would have been shut down. Okay.
So anyway, let's talk about today's episode, who we have in our guest chair. We have Victoria Knox. She's a holistic health and wellness practitioner. And today she's going to discuss her journey, how she works with integrated medical doctors to create lasting lifestyle changes for their patients. Now, you know, this is going to be good because, you know, we're in the same field. Mm-hmm. So we are crossing similar career paths. And this is going to be a great episode because we're going to be kiki-keying, I'm sure. So I look forward to this interview. So what are you loving this week, Keela?
Well, I am loving a couple of different things. I'm loving the freedom that I'm experiencing right now. I got to be honest. So I work a 9 to 5. I don't want to go back to the office. And they're in talks about getting us back into the office. And it took a minute to adjust to working from, as an entrepreneur and as a 9 to 5er, you have a little bit of both. But when the pandemic hit, it was like everything was at home, and I got used to it, and I like it, and I like my routine, and I don't want to go to the office. I don't even know how I would even act in an office. So I'm currently just really, really, really thankful and grateful and loving like my setup. I got my apartment about 60% set up. And I'm just loving the vibe, and I want to enjoy this as much as I possibly can.
Well, you better, because you're going back to the office, kid. Everybody eventually has to go back to the office. Well,
there's modifications. So it's like 2, maybe 3 times out the week, not every day.
Okay.
And they said if you feel comfortable. So I can always don't feel comfortable and then keep it there.
So you don't miss that human interaction?
I don't.
No,
I don't.
You're a little bit. Most people out here saying they missing the human interaction.
I interact enough with humans. I don't like. I don't need the office interaction to help me with that. It would be nice to break up the monotony, but I probably just because I spent the whole year doing this, so you usually get comfortable with something. Now you want to throw me back into the circus. It's kind of like, do we have to? So, you.
What I'm loving this week is I discovered a new product. Well, it's not new.
Here we go.
But I actually forgot about it. It's frozen wheatgrass.
Oh, that's not new.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not new. But we when you're in the health and wellness field, you're always going in and out of different products. Sometimes the products you use them for a little while, then you'll stop because there are so many good things out here for us to explore. So it's almost like being a kid in a candy jar. So I forgot about this frozen wheatgrass. It's grown outdoors. It's a little different from the ones that you buy in the health food stores because, wheatgrass can taste pretty bitter. Okay.
Yes, it can.
And so this wheatgrass, though, actually tastes good, and they flash freeze it. So what that means is they grow it outdoors, and it has fewer mold issues, and it has more phytonutrients because it's grown outdoors, and they freeze it right away. So they send it to you in these little cubes, and you're
I
able
remember.
to,
Okay.
yeah, you take them in those little cubes, because wheatgrass is good for so many things. It has these vitamins and minerals in it and everything that you need.
I'm going to be honest. I can't stand wheatgrass. And the only reason why I can't stand it is because it can't stand me. It's one of those things. Every single time that I took wheatgrass, it would upset my stomach. I would get nauseous, like extremely nauseous.
But that might have been because you were buying the little shots from the health food store.
It was extremely raw and live. So the one that you're talking about in the frozen, it actually works better for me.
Yeah, there's a difference, because what I found out, those are grown indoors. So they grow them under sunlight. And they have a tendency to mold, by the way, when they grow under sunlight.
So I was drinking moldy.
You might have been
wheatgrass shots.
So it's because you think about it, it's grass. Naturally, it should grow outdoors. But because they started commercializing wheatgrass and they needed more of it, they were growing it indoors. So a lot of times, ones that you're getting at the health food stores are grown inside, under lights. So it's a big difference. So that's why I remember this company called Dynamic Greens, and we'll put the link in the show notes for those of you who want to try it. It actually tastes good. It doesn't have a bitter taste at all. And I love the way it comes in those little cubes, so you can like little ice cubes.
I did like that.
And you add a little water to it, and then it just thaws out in about 5 minutes, and you drink it and you're good. That's what I'm loving this week. Okay. So anyway, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to introduce Miss Victoria Knox and ask her a few questions about her industry. How about that?
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Do you want to bulletproof your immune system to fight viruses during cold and flu season? A cup of Be Well immunity can keep the doctor away and keep that immune system at optimal levels. There are 8 well-crafted, organic, hand-picked herbs that will do just that. Go to brownwomenwellness.com and get 15% off your next purchase using code WellHonest15.
Okay, we're back. Let me introduce you guys to Victoria Knox. So Victoria is originally from Chicagoland. Hey, Chicago. And she held 30 plus years in business management, communications, and consulting. And as her career became more successful, her health did not. She was gaining weight. She could not lose through different weight loss programs she was trying, and nothing was working. So pain led her to try colon hydrotherapy, and it worked to alleviate her pain. This started her passion for all things wellness related, from a fitness instructor to wellness coaching. Her success at her own weight loss and health management made her clients eager to learn more. She wrote and self-published a book called My Secret Transformation: How I Detoxed My Life and Reinvented Myself over a decade ago. She was recruited west, where she now resides in the sunny state of Arizona, and she assists people with wellness and integrated approaches. Welcome, Victoria. Are you there?
I am here. Hello. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be
here.
Yeah, thank you. I was listening to your statements about wheatgrass. I was like, oh my God, I love wheatgrass.
Well, you and I are kindred spirits. So
yes. But it's so, and not to just jump into it, but this is like my thing. Anytime somebody mentions something, I'm like all over it. So what you were saying about wheatgrass and the difference in the wheatgrass we get in the store is usually on the little pallet, like you said, and it's usually that little tiny wheatgrass, and that's usually more sugars. That's why it's hard for people to digest it, because it's like it doesn't work well with your system soon as it goes down. But when you get real wheatgrass that's grown outdoors and it's grown in the open, like on a farm, it is a mature plant, and it looks 10 times bigger than the wheatgrass that's grown in the store on the little pallet. And so
Makes sense.
it's a full plant. Yes. So it
That makes full
operates
sense.
very different with the body than,
I'm trying
than
to
a
tell
commercial.
you, I used to want to be that person so bad with wheatgrass, but honey, it just did
tastes
not work.
different.
It tastes totally different.
Mature wheatgrass is different. It tastes different. It functions differently. It works better with the system. So, it's a matter of the quality of wheatgrass that you get.
There you go. And that's important. And I know you know the difference, but tell our listeners what a holistic and wellness practitioner is.
Well, a holistic wellness practitioner is someone who takes the whole person into consideration. The whole person meaning their physical, mental, spiritual wellness. And all of that is taken into consideration when we talk about a treatment or a wellness plan or, a condition that they might be facing. So it's not just symptom based or, reactionary based, but we try to look at everything surrounding the person relative to whatever they're dealing with.
And that makes a tremendous difference too.
Yeah. And so in regards to that, how would a holistic wellness practitioner work either in tandem or how would they work with a medical doctor?
So there's two ways to do that. There's medical doctors and there's naturopathic doctors. And they have different styles of working. So medical doctors are more on the conventional side of medicine, whereas naturopathic doctors are more on the functional and integrated side of medicine. And the wellness practitioner can be they can work with either side. They can work with the medical doctors or naturopathic doctors. In terms of working with the medical doctor, it's really patient driven. Okay, so the patient has to decide that they want to integrate holistic modalities in their plan. With the naturopathic doctor, a wellness practitioner or holistic practitioner would kind of automatically be part of that plan. Okay.
Gotcha.
So, right. So in one sense, it's an option to include. On the other side, it's an automatic inclusion.
And what I have found too, is that generally we're the last stop. By the time they get to us, they've tried a lot of things. By the time they get to holistic and wellness practitioners, the patients have gone to doctors, tried different ways to try to correct their issues, and then they come to the holistic and wellness side and say, hey, you know what? I'm tired of this medicine. I'm tired of this pain. Let's try something natural. Yeah. Is that what you're finding?
That is what happens. But ironically, that's not necessarily the favorable way to include holistic nutrition.
I agree with that.
Holistic modalities. Yeah. Holistic wellness is really, if you think about wellness in two forms, you have a situation where the health has declined and now you have to bring it back up. And then you have a situation where the health has not declined, but you don't want it to. So on the medical side, traditionally here in America, Western medicine, for example, is primarily what we call conventional medicine. It's mainstream practice. It's treatment-based. It's aimed to fix symptoms. It's usually like an immediate response to an urgent complaint. Like it's kind of a one-size-fits-all approach. But we all know that there isn't always a one-size-fits-all answer to to a problem. So, for example, a person can have cancer, but there are different types of cancers. There's different levels of cancers. There's different ways to treat different cancers. It's not a one size fits all. So on the medical side, they would do, a protocol that's pretty basic and standard across the board. On the
correct.
Yes. On the naturopath side, they would do a different type of protocol based on the specific person. So maybe this person needs more, for example, more vitamin C, or maybe this person needs, a different cocktail of things to help them, whereas opposed to in regular medicine, they would just get a certain dosage no matter what. Mm-hmm. So it's more custom. It's more tailored to the individual, and then we take into consideration their other things within their lifestyle that may be contributing to the cancer. Such as their environment or other things. There's so many other factors that conventional medicine does not necessarily include.
That's so true. We use this big word called bio-individuality, don't we, Keela? Sometimes we talk about bio-individuality, and I said, that's
so
what.
Important.
Yes, that's very, very important. So tell us more about your journey, your personal journey. Tell us what's different about you today from when you first started in the business and where you are now. Tell us a little bit more of your personal stuff.
Sure. Well, as you mentioned earlier, I started out in Chicago, Illinois, where I'm from. I'm from a family of entrepreneurs, so I've been working since I was like 5. And my family's office supply store on the south side of Chicago is where I got started, just stocking shelves with what I could reach at the age of 5. And I mean, it was really just getting my feet wet and exposure to the business world, so to speak. I think I got paid like a quarter every week at that time. But from that point, obviously, I went on. I have an undergrad from Governor State University, but I started at Columbia College as a journalist. And when I finished at Governor State, I had enough credits to not only be a journalist, but also have a minor in business management. So those skills took me into the corporate world, where I became really successful in business development and sales, working with non-for-profits and different organizations. And I've worked for some pretty notable companies and organizations, and it's those transferable skills, so to speak, that led me down those roads. So I had some leadership positions, and the last one I was in, I worked for an organization in Chicago, and was over a sales team. I was put over the sales team and was doing about 10 million annually in sales, and sales and in-kind donations and things like that. So that was like the total of it. And one day I walked in and did not have a job. And, I had a beautiful office on Michigan Avenue, and it was really nice. And I was traveling and doing a lot of things with some major companies and building partnerships. And one day I walked in and didn't have a job, not just myself, but my whole team. And actually half of the organization didn't have jobs.
Oh, wow.
It was just a downturn. It was a downturn. Yeah, out of the blue. It was an economic downturn, like in 2009, 2008, around there. Everybody was hit hard with that. So it wasn't personal, But from that, I began to help other entrepreneurs start and grow and build their own businesses. And I did a couple of classes for the Chicago Urban League, and also did some just on my own, and I created conferences for entrepreneurs so they could have some things to arm themselves and create their own, businesses and their own wealth. Because at that time, jobs were just kind of folding and lots of acquisitions were happening and things like that. And people were just really in a place of uncertainty. So my desire was to help people kind of get a foothold and create their own opportunities. So as I was doing that, my clients were like, okay, well, you're doing a lot with the business and you're helping us, but how are you losing all this weight? I used to be almost 200 pounds and I'm not that tall. So that was a lot. That was a lot for a shorty like me, So they're like, well, how are you losing all this weight? And what is that? What's going on with that? And so that took on a whole life of its own. And as I was, helping people develop their business, I started getting more private clients on the weight loss side. And people were trying to figure out what my method was to get the weight down. So long story short, I ended up losing like 50 pounds. I went from a size 16 to a 4 in about 8 months' time. And that was just through juicing, detoxing, clean eating. I went on a fast. It began with a fast. And I really just asked God to take me to another level. I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian pretty much all my life. But this time I wanted something different. I wanted an elevation. I was divorced. I was just in a different place. And, lots of us do fasting in the beginning of the year. And I did. But it was just a different, it was something different about that time of me doing the fast.
How long ago was this?
Excuse me. This was in, like 20,000, 209, 210, going into, about 210.
Okay.
2010.
So on this journey, have you, what are some of the things that you've discovered with the people that you helped? Like, what is a common theme that you think you've found within people that you've helped?
The common theme that I have found, because I work with mostly professionals who are really, busy and have lots of things that they're juggling. But the most common thing that I have found is a lack of self-prioritization. Meaning they put everything and everybody ahead of their personal wellness.
Yeah.
So, there's someone running a CEO of a company. They're running, millions and billions of dollars. They are eating this business. So they don't take much time for themselves. Or we have the super mom who's also, an established businesswoman. She has a family. She's doing all the work. She's trying to raise her kids. She's trying to keep her family happy. She's trying to keep her business straight, but her health is lacking. But she looks good. She looks great.
That's a common, that's a common thread. Yeah, on the surface.
Yeah. She's got the hair. She's got the nails. She's got the lashes. She's got the best outfit. I mean, down to the letter. But her health is jacked up. But she's never talking about that.
So that's a challenge.
Yes. Yeah. So those are the kind of the common threads. And that's really where we start. We don't start with, drink this green juice and run around the block, because it's really not about that. It's more about putting yourself back on the priority list. When you're on an airplane and they tell you if the airplane goes down, who do you put the mask on first?
Correct.
Right.
That's correct.
Right? Oxygen mask goes on yourself first. And so that is the number one pillar. I've created 6 pillars, and these are pillars that I developed, but also that I followed for myself in getting my own health back in order. Self-prioritization is number one. So that's the common thread.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, I always find that is like the main thing that most people who are trying to go into a wellness journey or who know they need to get it together, they just can't find it within themselves or the time. They don't make the time to finally put themselves first, which is how they ended up in the position that they got in the first place. If you could give like 3 tips to the listeners on, because I'm sure, I'm willing to bet money, there are many women who are listening to this right now and they're like, that's me. So if you can give 3 tips on how to start to put yourself first, what would it be?
Well, when I wrote my Secret Transformation, I really kind of go into detail in these things in the very beginning of the book. And so the first thing I mention about self-prioritization is values and priorities. Okay. Understanding the values and priorities. If you value your health, that's important. If that is important to you, then a priority, which is the action that supports the value, the priority is going to be being more mindful of the things that we eat, being more mindful of getting some kind of exercise in, things like that. So values and priorities. Excuse me. And then another thing that I mention is knowing the difference between roles and authenticity. Excuse me. And what I mean by that is, and this is especially for women, roles are what we are to other people. We're an employee, we're a mother, we're a wife, we're a sister, we're a neighbor, this, that, and the other. Those are roles. And busy, quote, and I'm using my air quotes, busy people find themselves engulfed in roles. They're trying to be all these different things to different people. But authentic is what you have to be to yourself. Meaning, if something is not lining up with your self-prioritization, it's okay to say no to that. If something, you're trying to, keep a relationship going that is really sinking, but you're just putting in all the effort, you're putting in everything and getting nothing out of it.
Yeah. Yep. And that seems to be
sucking the life out of you kind of thing. So those are the kinds of things that we bring attention to first, because those often lead to the eating issues and the busy issues, because it's easier to be busy than it is to address the issue.
Correct. That is correct. Because are you finding that a lot of people or women are waiting until they're sick or ill to address those problems?
Oh yeah, because number one, a lot of us don't think it can happen to us. I am a breast cancer survivor, and I did all this healthy stuff, drink wheatgrass, I hike mountains, I do all of these things, and I've done that for years. And then I got cancer.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So it's not like, that's
the end all be all.
Yeah. Right. Yes. It's not So you have to, oh my goodness, we could do a whole nother show on the stress factor.
Yes. That's what I was going to think to myself when you said all of that. I was thinking one of my instructors, she lives in Portland and she calls it Portlandia. She says, in Portland, the kids eat pasture raised meat. They eat whole eggs. They get their milk from almonds. I mean, they do everything right. But she said they have more problems than you could shake a tree at, because at the end of the day, it comes down to stress.
Yes, it does.
Which is one of the bigger can be one of the biggest killers of us all, no matter how healthy you eat. So I am listening to you, and I definitely agree with you wholeheartedly. We have this superwoman syndrome that we carry around with us. And that is what gets us in trouble. That very thing, that superwoman syndrome. So
it does. Because it makes us feel important. It makes us feel needed. It makes us feel valuable. But those are external things. And, it takes some dialing in to really determine your value. Your value isn't based on what everybody else thinks of you. Your value is based on what you think of you.
Absolutely. That's you just said a whole mouthful, right? You did.
But we don't do that part so well. So that makes us run like a rat on a hamster on a wheel, so to speak. But yes, that stress factor is a big thing.
Victoria, what would you say would be some of the challenges that you face in your profession currently? Some of the biggest challenges.
Well, some of the biggest challenges, number one, there are a few, but one is that I am an African-American female in an industry where not very many African-Americans are at the table with a voice. And that says a few things. It says, for one, to some degree, African Americans don't have the same access as our counterparts may have. And
you can just say it. You could just say it on this show. By the way,
you don't have to skirt around it.
You don't have to make it sugarcoat. We are straight to the point here,
and we talk about it all the time. So that's why we started this show. Yeah.
Right. So we don't have the same access. So there's a disparity there. But when we do get the access, we have a million questions, which nothing is wrong with the question.
No, questions or doubt.
Well, it's doubt in the form of questions.
Yeah, exactly.
And so now they want you to dance around they want you to answer all these things, and you got to do all this tap dancing around something. Whereas if I said, here, just take this Tylenol, there would be no problem. So
they would take it with no questions asked.
Yeah. There's a trust factor, and it's mainly because of the unknown. And the unknown is because of the lack of access. So, even the Bible says, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. That it doesn't say that the knowledge isn't there. It's meaning that you just don't know it's there.
Correct.
You don't have the access to it, or you don't have the, ability to get to it. So that's some of the bigger challenges. Also, the holistic wellness is not covered by insurance in most cases. However, in Arizona, you can be a naturopathic doctor on your own. In Illinois, you would have to be practicing under a medical doctor. So it's the profession is recognized differently in different parts of the country. So that, depending on the state you're in, you can have a bigger voice for certain things than you could in other parts of the country. That was one reason I moved to Arizona, is because Illinois does not recognize naturopathic doctors. You'd have to be
that's
under
a problem.
A medical doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, so, that's a problem.
It is. So that presents some, in the general sense, it would question credibility.
Mm-hmm.
So people are a little more skeptic of accepting information from a naturopathic doctor or wellness practitioner as opposed to a regular doctor. And I'm not against regular doctors, but I know that there's more than one way to heal. There's more than
Correct.
one way to be well. And
Correct.
all of these different ways of practicing can work together. They don't necessarily have to work against each other. They can work in tandem. But one of the challenges is being able to do that across the country so that everybody has access to the same thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge in our field. I have a question for you. If you had to share one healthy tip with our audience, what would it be?
One healthy tip. Well, I would go back to the self-prioritization. And I know, it's not the drink this green juice or eat this salad or, take wheatgrass every day. Mm-hmm. It isn't that. It really isn't that, because that's easy to do once you put yourself back on a priority list, because then you understand why you should take the wheatgrass. Then you understand why you should do certain things. When you put yourself back on the priority list, the questions of why become more clear. The answers become more clear.
Okay. Yeah.
So that'd
be one thing you share. And that makes sense.
Yes.
We definitely understand self-care is what you're really saying, which I know that word has been used a lot in 2020 and probably going to be used a lot in 2021 too.
Yes.
Yeah. But at the end of the day,
forefront more. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what, at the end of the day, I think most women are recognizing, people period are recognizing that this is what they really need. We do a segment called Honesty Moment of the Week, where we share a real honest, something that happened to us honestly, personally, that we share with our audience. And we will ask you to participate in this honesty moment because, we know we're not perfect, correct?
Sure.
So we like for our audience to hear some things, challenges or things that have happened to us in our previous week and share it with them, because a lot of times it's very relatable. So, Keela, you want to go first? No? You want me to go first? Okay. My honesty moment of the week is I'm still trying to juggle. I juggle many hats. Most people know that I have a very successful real estate career, but I am segueing into the wellness movement. I've been studying with functional medicine doctors, and I've learned so much. But I have in one ear, I'll have the functional medicine practitioner training going on, and in the other ear, I'm listening to the clients tell me about this house that they want to put an offer on. So I am juggling all of these things, and I'm also creating a course. So honestly, what I had to do was take a step back this weekend and on Sunday, and it was on Saturday, and I had to just simply sit still for a moment and refuel myself, because I could feel a burnout coming. And just what you spoke about earlier about prioritizing ourselves, one of the things, we could have all the knowledge in the world, but if we don't stop for a minute and don't burn ourselves out and take care of our spirit, it's that spirit, that I constantly check myself on. I'm a big Bible person, so sometimes just reading the Bible can calm me down, So I had to do that this weekend, and that's my honesty moment of the week. Akila, what's yours?
So this week, honestly speaking, I had to implement some boundaries with some people, and it didn't feel good, but I had to do it.
Oh, can we hear? Come on, share the dirt.
Look at you, on the nose of the tea. Look at you. Just some boundaries as far as like what I don't want to participate in, as far as like hearing other people's drama, other people's mess, other people's problems and complaints. I wasn't in the space to hear it. Typically, I'm the type of person, I want to hear it because I like to help. And so I'm all in. And I think that I have not set boundaries in the past to where if I'm not all in, how can I like respectfully decline? So I had to set a couple boundaries with that. And it was really just as simple as, I thought it was going to be harder than, cause I've never done it before in this capacity, but it was as simple as saying, I don't have the capacity to even pay attention to what you're saying right now. Cause that's just, I'm not in that space.
So you had to learn how to say no.
Yeah. And, it felt good after the fact because I finally put my needs, here we go, we talking about prioritization, above other people. But yeah, it was a learning experience. And, the guilt came in. Oh, are they going to be mad at me? Oh my God, everything's going to be weird. And it's like, all of that was just a mental gymnastics that I put myself through because it's not real. Because at the end of the day, do I feel good about what I just did? And was it for me and not in a malicious way? And the answer is yes across the board. So I don't feel bad. So that's my honesty moment.
Good for you. What about you, Victoria?
Yeah, good for you as well. I would have to kind of echo similar to what Akila was saying, in that this week I've had to say no a little bit more than I usually do, and I have no problem with saying no. But I've had to say it to, my sons. I've had to say it to people that I care about. Not that I don't care about them, but I could not engage in some of the activities that they wanted me to just because I did not have the wherewithal for it. So it's, I hike. Regularly, and people come into Arizona often and they're like, oh, I want to hang out and I want to do this. And, and quite honestly, that's my downtime because you can get peopled out during the week. At least I can. And that means because you're constantly in communication, you're constantly giving out. And at some point you have to refuel your own bank and stay in the black.
Yes.
So that's my time to get back in the black. And, I'd have to say, no, I, respectfully
decline. That's been my new go-to. Like, I'm going to respectfully decline that.
Yes.
And I say it sometimes in a joking way when I want to soften the blow. And it works. So good for you for doing that.
Does.
Victoria, where can the people find you? Because I know they're going to want to find you. Tell us a little bit about
some programs you have also before we let you go.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Thank you. Yes, you can find me at vknoxlife.com. So it's V is in my first initial, Knox is in my last name, vknox, and then the word life, like life giving. vknoxlife.com is where you can find me. And during the month of February, I have a series of several programs that are available there on my website. But aside from that, during the month of February, I'm doing a really special class called Detox Your Life on the 21st of this month. And that class will be on a Sunday. So I'm inviting everyone to just check that out and join us for that class. And also for the month of February, I am doing a special rate for one-on-one wellness consulting. For the love month, it's the heart month. So I'm giving from my heart in these programs, so that people can get back on track and, make wellness their personal priority.
And where can they find that?
That's also on VKnox Life. On the same
that's
website, VKnox Life.
That's VKNOX Life.com.
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
Correct.
Just want to make
That
sure that
is
we got the
correct.
spelling correct. Okay.
Yes. I and I recently opened up a supplement dispensary through Full Script, and so I've gone through certain protocols and pulled certain types of supplements that are cleaner, because all supplements are not created equal. You know, I don't care what's the front of the
Can you say that louder for the people in the back?
Okay. I'm going to say it slow. Listen slow now.
I mean, supplements are not created equal.
That is correct. All supplements are not created equal. A lot of them have a lot of fillers.
Oh my God. I could have a whole show on that, because people show me sometimes supplements that they just bought at their local Walmart, and they say, is this good? And I'm like, oh my God.
Yes. So my goal is to help people in that way by providing them with cleaner supplements that will actually work with whatever they're doing. And, you know, and that can not be a contraindication to whatever medication they could be taking as well. So all of that matters, all of that matters.
And I love Full Script, by the way. I love Full Script. It's awesome. So, I mean, that's quality. So you're giving people quality supplements that they can purchase. And I think that's very, very important. So they can find those supplements on your website as well, correct?
They can they can go into the portal through my website.
Correct. And they go to Full Script.
Yes, because I have my portal, even though there's like thousands of supplements on Full Script, even through those, you have to be selective. So I have handpicked the supplements that I suggest for people. So they're not like just, random supplements through Full Script.
That's awesome.
From the things that they offer, I've gone a step further and read the ingredients and talked to some of the researchers and worked with some of them to put specific things in my dispensary that would be helpful, for different types of situations and conditions.
That is awesome. I mean, Victoria, you have a lot to offer this world, and particularly because you are an African-American woman in a field that you're so much needed. I mean, your voice needs to be heard. It makes my heart swell, because this is one of the reasons that we started this whole program, this whole movement. And it is so good to have a comrade. And that's what I consider you in this business. So we are so happy to have you on. We're going to, and thank you. You just don't know how well we thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. I thank you for the opportunity to come on and to, be in kindred spirit with you in this movement, in talking to our sisters and brothers, because it's not just, sisters, but our brothers listen too. And to just to lock arms on this and say we're in this together. We are. We don't want you to think we're coming against whatever you're doing, but we're showing you another path. We're showing you another way, and it's good to partner with you in this way as well. So thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap everything up. Again, we want to thank Victoria for coming on the show. Ladies, if you guys want to be featured on the podcast, do me a favor and go to brownwomanwellness.com. If you go down to the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you're going to see a blue icon. If you click on that, you can have your recording put on the podcast. So if you have a question, if you have an honesty moment yourself you would like to share, if you want to tell us how good we're doing or how terrible we're doing, we want to hear it all. We actually don't want to hear that, but we want to hear it all. So just go ahead and click on that little button, record your audio, and we will feature you on next week's episode. You can also find us at hello@wellhonestlypodcast.com. That is our email address. It's hello@wellhonestlypodcast.com. If you want to have a question feature, we're going to be doing one of our Q&A episodes soon. So we definitely want to get you guys' input in that. And that about sums it up. Brian, go ahead and take us on out. for listening to Well Honestly, the podcast. If you want to know more about us and our products, check us out over on our website at brownwomenwellness.com. And remember, ladies, we are not doctors, and any information shared by us is not medical advice. Always follow your doctor's advice.
And don't forget to rate and review our podcast and let us know what you loved about this week's episode. And please subscribe to wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Feel free to email us and let us know what you would like to hear more of from us. Don't be afraid to say hi. We'll say hi right back to you.
Don't forget to find us across all social platforms at Brown Women Wellness. As always, show notes with the links to what we talked about today in this week's episode will be in the description box below. Thanks for listening.